and jump on. Oh, Riley needs a link sent. Well, let's see. We'll stall for just a minute here and I'll try and get her a link over there. All right. Well, here we go. It is the middle of December. Next week is Christmas. Welcome to the Young Entrepreneurs Syndicate. And we've got our usual Monday night call. We've mixed things up a little bit with everyone's schedules, both with timing and everything else. So we appreciate your flexibility. And again, that's why we record these. And you always get the notification when they're posted and up. So glad to hear that. And tonight's topic. This is a fun one for me. I've spent most of my life trying to discern leaders, good leaders, and what makes them tick, what makes a good leader good. And part of that was the impetus of the book that I wrote, the Warpath Alliance. What are the required skills? And I did that by observation, not by reading other people's books, not by um, getting self-help books and saying these are the top traits. Although I was able to identify them, I think in my research, I had 153 top characteristics that made great leaders. And I boiled that down and boiled it down and boiled it down until I got it to eight. And that was under that eight, there could be others that were in there, right? So, if it was work ethic, that could have, six other things that were tied to it. So it's one of those things that's meant a lot to me throughout all my different careers was how is it that some people are able to, just automatically earn respect and other people struggle with it, just struggle. And this is important not just for business, it's important for personal relationships as well, whether it's friendships, whether you're the head of a golf team or a bowling team, a bowling league, something like that. These principles apply to everybody. And I sent out in the group text a little cheat sheet for everyone tonight. I hope you like that because that boils it all down. But I'm going to talk a few stories first so you can kind of put this in perspective. I was listening to a video with Elon Musk earlier this week, and he was talking about when he was building his Tesla company, when he had just started out. And one of the things that he had done was, I mean, he obviously worked hard, right? He was passionate about this. He slept. He literally slept in the facility, in the manufacturing facility. I mean, they were running two shifts, and Elon Musk was there pushing, pushing, pushing. And so one shift would end, he would go to an office that was an open area office and literally sleep on the floor. He talked about having metal filings, metal shavings on his clothing when he got up, and he smelled like metal shavings, and he literally would lay down on the floor beneath his desk and sleep and then get back up. And he realized that he was there between shift changes. And so the people who were on the early shift saw him go lay down. And then the people who were coming on the next shift saw him there, lying there. And those people worked so much harder for him. They knew that he was willing to sacrifice and do everything because he believed in this company. And they just respected him for that. He was willing to do the work. And he wasn't asking anyone to do anything he wasn't willing to do. And he pushed through that way. And I've used him as examples on different calls before, but he's not a time waster, and he's not doing things to pose. He's not doing things for show. He's doing things because it's the right thing to do, and it catches on. And that's I'm putting this in the front end of this. We talk about being sincere and being authentic in our syndicate an awful lot. And sincere, if you look at the root word, it comes from Latin. And I took several years of Latin in college, which did me absolutely no good, except I know what sincere means. And it means clean and pure and sound. Sound in the sense of solid, right? Firm, just you're unmoving. It's you're just not going to be moved by other things. So when we talk about being sincere, that's what we're talking about. It's your motives are pure. You're doing things from a clean heart. You're not doing things to get. And that's what the greatest business leaders of our time, the greatest religious leaders and political leaders are doing things for other people. They're not doing things to be self-serving. And that is the heart of earning respect right there. So Elon Musk, that example, it's the do as I do and as I say. We always hear that adage, do as I do, not as I say. But it should be do as I do and as I say. What you're saying you shouldn't even have to say it. If you're doing it, people will watch you and they will do it too. And that's where we need to be in our business lives. We need to just be doing and doing it the right way. And I heard in fact, it was on our podcast. It might not have aired yet. If it already has and you've listened to it, you'll hear this story twice. But it's the whole thing, people it's wanting to be Christians. And this is what it means to be a Christian. And I believe it was Custer, that's who it was credited to when I heard the story, said, it's easy to act like a Christian, but it's harder to react like one. And that really sums it up. We can put on a good act if we're acting, but reaction is what comes out when you're squeezed, right? That's what comes out. So you want to be the person who's not just, putting on a show. You want people to see the real you. You want to be sincere and authentic in all that you do. And the next story I have for you on earning respect, and this is a great story. It's Robin Selvig. For those of you from Montana, he was the women's basketball coach. He started the women's basketball coach program. He started the women's basketball program at the University of Montana in 1978. And that was right after Title IX came out, where if you wanted federal dollars, you had to match women's dollars with men's dollars. If men had new uniforms and new track shoes, women had to have them. And so he started this program from absolutely nothing at the University of Montana, and he stayed there for 38 years. And I recently watched a documentary, and it's called Play Like a Girl. When he was playing basketball, someone told him that he played like a girl. And he took that to heart, and he said, they play harder. They have to work harder. They have to do more. They have to prove themselves. So playing like a girl to him meant playing harder, giving it your all, pushing harder than anyone had ever pushed before, because women had to. Just to compete, they had to work harder, push harder, and do more. They had more expectations on them. So Robin Selvig starts this program, and after 38 years, he has 865 wins, 286 losses, and he had offers to go to all these big schools, to coach these programs, because he was breaking attendance records. Little University of Montana, a town at that point in time was probably 45, 50,000. And he was breaking attendance records over people like Chicago and Milwaukee and the big schools down south. He started a program that just caught on fire. And some of the things he did, I watched the reunion when he retired, and there were over 100 of his players that came back, students that he had. And they credited him and his program, his coaching, his teaching and treating them the same as he did everyone else. He put his heart into them, and they were all successful. I mean, just amazing women. But one thing that he did, just to kind of give you an idea, this is how you earn respect. It's by knowing your people. One of his students, her father passed away. Well, it was in season. And most of his students came from small towns in Montana. That was the other thing. He was playing with little Montana, people from towns of 35 and 200. He wasn't recruiting from big cities. He was recruiting from, one-room schoolhouses, literally. But one of the things that happened when this girl's father passed away, and she went to the funeral, she goes to the funeral home, and they're in the church, and there are all these empty seats that are reserved behind the family. And she's like, well, what's going on here? Coach Selvig bust in the entire team to go to her funeral. That's it. You want to earn respect from people, you put your heart into them. And it's amazing when you think how many people would do that. How many people will go the extra mile to know what someone's feeling and suffering and be there with them and for them, just to say we're here. So a great example there. And then that got me, once you watch something like that, all of a sudden things pop up on your feed, and it's like, hey, how about this one, Bye Bye Barry Sanders? Heidi, I was thinking of you. I was thinking of you and your son. Football, Barry Sanders. And even if you don't follow football, I've never been a big football fan. And when they started kneeling for the national anthem, I actually stopped watching the NFL. But I do like watching highlights and reels. Barry Sanders was phenomenal. He was a Heisman Trophy winner, and we just went through that. Barry Sanders was a Heisman Trophy winner, and I like it because he's like my size. He's 5'8" and 203 pounds. I'm lighter than him, thank goodness, and it's not all muscle. But he's a shorter guy, and he was setting records in college. He gets into the NFL, and he stayed with the Detroit Lions. They recruited him, and he stayed there 10 years, and he broke just about every record that you could break. It was unbelievable. In fact, this movie came out and it's 2 years old. As of 2022, he's still the number 2 spot for rushing yards. Number 2, career high. And he quit. He quit at the height of his career, just walked away. And part of it was there were 2 of his teammates that had injuries on the field and were paralyzed. So I think he saw the writing on the wall. This can end any time. And he was never on a winning team, never went to the Super Bowl. So he's setting all these records and stuff. But some interesting things about Barry. Everybody loved him. He was the glue. He got the best out of everyone. And when he was in college, he had an opportunity to break one of the college records. And he was literally like 10 yards away. And it was the fourth quarter, and this guy gets like 100 yards minimum a game. And they said, well, why don't we keep you in so you can break this record? And he said, no. He said, let some of these other guys play. It wasn't about records for him. It was about other people, putting other people first. And he had the opportunity again to beat the all-time rushing yards records. And he did. He would sit out. It wasn't about records. It was about playing. It was about other people, putting the team first. And here was, if you ever watch, you see the touchdown, dances and all the stuff they do. You see they score a touchdown, they slam the ball down and in your face, and they're doing all these dances and stuff. One thing about Barry Sanders, and you think about all the touchdowns that this guy made, when he made a touchdown, he always turned around and handed the ref the ball. He didn't throw it. He didn't throw it into the stands. He gave it to the ref. Just something so simple. Here's a guy who, if anyone could celebrate, it would be him. And he was just so gracious, so courteous, so professional that he earned everyone's respect. And it's just amazing how, we look at what our culture today, glorifies. And we've turned a corner, and I think we need to turn back, right? We can learn some great lessons from some of these people who have spearheaded some of the greatness in our sports and in our business fields. We need to go back to that. Part of the whole internet and TikTok instant gratification is let's wow you with whatever we can cram into 30 seconds. And our advertising does that. What can you advertise? How can you get someone's attention and captivate them and motivate them in 30 seconds, or maybe a minute if you have that. We need to slow down. We all need to slow down. If we want to up our game, if we want to earn people's respect, we need to slow down and take the time to listen to them, to pay attention to them, and to connect with them. We really need to do that. And I know when we're scheduling an hour with someone, right? If we just got so much time, you want to get to the point, but we can't sacrifice the relationship to get to the business, right? You might need to spend, maybe that person that you're coaching needs to, or you're spending that time with, maybe they need to sit down and just talk, have someone listen to them for 30 minutes, and then 15 minutes of teaching them and training them, whatever you're doing. So we need to just have our hearts opened up on that and slow down. That's kind of my underlying message of the night. So I do have some topics here, definitions, because that's important to talk about. Earning respect, first and foremost. It means you have to, how do you earn money? How do you earn interest? You have to first make a deposit, don't you? If you want to earn money on an account, you have to first make a deposit. If you want to earn something, you have to deposit something first. So there's a difference between earning respect and demanding respect. Demanding money is going into a bank with a gun and saying, I want what's in your till. Earning money is putting money in a savings account or a CD or stocks and bonds. To earn money, you've got to make a deposit. And so the difference with that, demanding respect, and I know we've all worked for people, or we have friends, or we've been around people that demand respect, and it insists on people showing them deference and acknowledging them based on their position, their authority, their power. And basically it comes down to entitlement. They have an entitlement mentality. And we all know where entitlement gets us today, right? if we haven't figured that part out, entitlement is not paying the bills today. It might be what everyone wanted, but push comes to shove, and we know that entitlement is not going to work. So here are the characteristics of demanding respect. It's authority driven. Okay. It has a forceful approach, and it has short-term compliance. So authority driven, it's common in hierarchical situations. That's why we have managers and assistant managers and presidents and vice presidents and CFOs and assistants to the CFOs. We have hierarchies. And so every one of those things, we've got bosses and teachers and elders. We have a hierarchy system. So it is authority driven, but it doesn't mean that the position is going to drive that authority past a certain point. That's where that forceful approach comes in. That's where you have commands, ultimatums. You might have lists of, even in the employee lounge, what you can and cannot do in the refrigerator, how your food has to be stored. It has to be in Tupperware sealed things. Can't be this. You have to clean up the microwave. You got to wash your mugs. I mean, those are commands and ultimatums, and they're based on things that help everyone. But again, it's pushing it. It's pushing it out there. If the expectation is there without having it being written down, then it's going to be even more impactful. So that forceful approach, it's necessary at times, but it doesn't necessarily have to be bold and in your face. It can be a talking to the people who are doing it. Pull them aside and say, hey, this is what we expect. We're not going to tolerate that anymore. Which is the other thing. If you tolerate things, it's going to get worse. Your team, your employees, your staff is going to know that you're tolerating whatever it is. Non-compliance, tolerating BS, tolerating harassment, tolerating whatever. They're going to know. So you've got to be able to stop that and keep it all straight up. That goes to your character. The short-term compliance, everyone's going to do what the boss tells them, right? They're going to do it. The question is, how well are they going to do it? Are they going to put their heart into it? Are they going to do it the way the boss wants it done? Short-term compliance versus long-term results, definitely some limitations. So those are the characteristics of demanding authority. The limitations, I think we've already covered that. They're superficial. The respect shown is often not heartfelt. It will fade when the source of authority is removed. Sometimes when that person leaves the room, sometimes when they're off on vacation. What's the old adage? The inmates are running the prison. The rats are in the kitchen. When the boss is gone, the kids are going to play. If you've got an authoritarian leadership style like that, that's what's going to happen. That's what it will result in. So that's part of it. Resentment and risk. That's the other part. It can lead to resentment, especially if the demands are perceived as unjust or unearned. And I think I've used this example once before, but it's so blatant that I have to use it again. I went to work for a gentleman, had a large company, and I was talking to some of the people that had been with him for a long period of time, 5, 10 years. And there was a real high turnover rate. He had some managers that stuck with him, but there was just a turnover rate that was unbelievable. And I started asking around, well, what was going on? What happened? What's causing this blowout? And it came down to one incident where he came in, it was end of year, and he had all of his managers, assistant managers, team leaders come in, and he said, okay, here's the thing: as we go into the next year, I want everybody to come up with ways to cut their budgets by 10% at least. I want to see cuts. Cut. How are we going to save money? How are we going to become more profitable? And he said, I'm taking my family on a 10-day cruise, right? We're going to go to Aruba or something like that. And when I come back, I expect to see all those things. So the company paid for that cruise. So how do you think the employees felt? Right? You guys find out ways to cut while I go out and play. And I'm not saying you can't go on a cruise, you can't go on a vacation, you own the company, but perception and how you do things, when you do things, how you telegraph things is of utmost importance. And if you want to earn respect, you're going to be sensitive to that kind of stuff. And not just, well, I'm the boss, and so guess what I get to do and you don't. You lord that stuff over people. And we've all seen that in situations, but it's going to backfire. And in this case, it backfired on turnover, employee turnover. And you've heard me say it before, different Harvard studies, all different kinds. They're typically anywhere from 25 to 40% of the annual salary. Some go as high as 4 times the annual salary of the employee who quits or leaves. That's what it costs to replace them in training, lost productivity, et cetera. So that can be a huge issue. So let's move on to earning respect. This seems like you shouldn't have to tell anyone, right? But it's how you treat people. It's just that simple. Earning respect, the definition, it involves building trust, demonstrating integrity, and fostering admiration through actions and character. And I think if I were to sum it up, the best managers, the best leaders, when I was in the military, when I was in academia, when I was in business, were the ones that realized that one size doesn't fit all. Whatever the rules, whatever was going on, a good leader makes exceptions to rules all the time. That's what makes a good leader. He can follow the rules, but he knows when to make the exceptions to the rules. And he will do that on an individual basis as required. So realize that one size doesn't fit all. Everyone is different. Everyone has their own story. Everyone has a reason for why they were late, why they needed this time off, why this didn't work, why they need more time to train, why they, whatever it happens to be. You need to be interested and involved with your people, your coworkers, your family, so that you know what it is they need, what their needs are, so that you can be attentive to that. So when you crack that nut, that's the code. That's the secret sauce to success. The characteristics of earning respect. Number one, it's action oriented. Okay? It's focused on behaviors like fairness and kindness and competence and consistency. It's a mutual exchange, and that's what I mean by realize one size doesn't fit all. You encourage respect through reciprocal interactions where both parties value each other. And if you're reaching out to them and you're trying to meet them where they're at, they're going to realize that and meet you where you're at. So it's a mutual exchange, and you get long-term connection instead of short-term gain. That long-term connection cultivates genuine, lasting respect, and it's based on personal qualities and deeds. You're going to get the hardest work, the most productivity out of the people that respect you with that earned respect. Benefits, deep loyalty, less turnover, right? Earned respect leads to stronger bonds, enduring admiration, enduring longevity. Positive influence, it inspires others to emulate respectful behavior, creates supportive and respectful environment for all the team members. It makes a huge difference. So earning respect, you sum it up, and I heard this, act like you've been there before. When teams are winning, you think about, I don't know how many kids soccer games and basketball games and baseball games, lacrosse, everything, dance. It's the way, we hear sportsmen, be a good sport, be a good sport. That we usually attribute that to the losing team, right? You have to be a good loser, right? You have to be a gracious loser. But it's more important, I think, to be a gracious winner. To know how to be when you're ahead, when you're winning. Kind of like the Barry Sanders with the football thing, right? How are you when you're winning? That's where the stability comes through. That's where someone's true character comes through. They're not lording it over other people. They're not, look what I've done, look at me, see what I can do. It's how you are when you're winning that makes the big difference. How you lose matters. How you win makes a difference. So I sent you guys all in the text. Did y'all get the little box that I sent out? Going through that's the aspects, the demanding respect versus earning respect. Just summed it up for you real quick. Put that on a screensaver somewhere and just have it. Just it's little reminders, and it might not be for you. It might be for someone else. You might be able to take that attachment, save it somewhere, and then pass it on to someone who needs it. Or if someone's struggling and you say, hey, I heard something, I read something, pass that on, and it's a good evaluation tool, which brings me to one of my next things too. I'm going to run through that real quick, and then we're going to hit some other stuff. So relationships are everything, and it requires, unfortunately, effort. To be authentic and to be sincere takes effort. It takes extra time, and you have to really be plugged in. You have to make a concerted effort, not just once and not just once in a while, but consistently. Consistency is everything when you're trying to build a team and earn respect, but it's worth it. And as we are winding down on this year, and Jim and I on our podcasts have also been hammering this home, it's time to look forward. What you do today is going to matter tomorrow. And this is what I will tell you now. How your week ends is how your new week is going to begin. If you ended on a high note, your new week begins on a high note. How you end the month. If you ended on a high note, if you're pushing hard at the end of the month, that's how your year's going to start. If you end your year on a high note, that's how your new year is going to begin. So how you end is how you're going to begin. So it's time today to decide, how are you going to end? How are you going to end this week? How are you going to end this year? Because if you're pushing hard and pushing strong when you end, instead of, a lot of people just let off the gas and they're going to coast through, going to blow it off. It's the holidays. So party, we'll do this. We'll let it go. I'm going to pick up the ball, come January. No, don't do that. Push hard this last couple of weeks. You'll thank me later. I promise. So lastly, and I think I was going to send this out, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Rachel just put it on the back end. I plugged in, I used ChatGPT. I've been trying to embrace technology more and more. And I created a little assessment sheet to assess your strengths and your weaknesses. And what I did was I punched into ChatGPT. I wanted to know what the most admired and respected leaders, what traits that did people find that were the best, when they were looking at admiration for managers and leaders, What traits did they admire most? And and then I drilled down and pushed into that. So I'm going to have this on the back end, but I'm going to just run through it real quick. And then you'll have, it's a self-assessment. I turn it into a self-assessment sheet. So the number one thing is personal integrity and ethics, your honesty, your accountability, and your consistency. How would you rate yourself on that? Your personal integrity and ethics. And I'm not asking for answers right now. I'm just saying this is what I want you to look at yourself real hard here. Dig deep. Number two, emotional intelligence. And we talk about this a lot. Emotional intelligence is your empathy, understanding and getting along, really valuing other people's perspectives and emotions. So, empathy, self awareness, recognizing your own emotions, your own biases, your own weaknesses, and your interpersonal skills. Do you build positive relationships, and how are you an effective communicator? And that's both in person, writing, texting, your emotional intelligence. So where do you stand on that? Number three is vision and strategic thinking. And I didn't really think of this. I always think of this as a personal thing, right? My own vision and thinking. But other people are looking at how you strategically think about your future as well. Other people are watching you. And so, do you have a clarity of vision? And do you communicate that clearly? Do people know you have goals and direction? Do they know that? How are your problem solving skills? That comes down to your strategic thinking. How are your problem solving skills? And adaptability. How do you face challenges? Can you shift and move, or does it throw you in a tailspin and you throw up your hands and want to quit, right? People are watching. So that's number three, vision and strategic thinking. Number four is your ability to inspire and motivate. So what's your passion level like? So you might say you're excited, but do you show your enthusiasm? I had a manager once asked the owner of the company, because the owner of the company was never satisfied. He always had something to complain about. And it wasn't just complain. It was a bitch, just bitch. He bitched to bitch. And this guy went up to him and he says, "Are you even happy? Are you even happy?" It doesn't matter how much more we beat the goals and the quotas. The guy was never happy. It's like, "Are you even happy?" Well, of course I am. Well, then act like it, right? So, what's your ability to inspire and motivate? There are people who make tons of money and they have zero ability to inspire and motivate. And those are the companies that usually struggle. They're the ones that Jim gets to go in and help rescue, right? Because they're having trouble in these areas. So, your passion, empowerment. How are you about encouraging other people? And do you take ownership of what you do and grow from it? And optimism. Do you maintain a positive outlook, especially during challenges? Those are the things that are going to earn respect. Number five, competence and expertise. You still have to be competent at your job. You still have to be the one who knows how to do, or at least have the vision for it and hire the right people if you don't have it. Technical knowledge. You have to be proficient. Decision-making ability falls under competence and expertise. Are you making informed, timely, and effective choices? And confidence. Do you display assurance in your own ability without being arrogant? That's number five. Number six is supportiveness. Are you fair? Do you treat people equally and make unbiased decisions? What are your listening skills like? Do you actively listen and value other people's input? Mentorship, investing in professional and personal development of your team members. You're all here on the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate, so I know you're getting support and being supportive. So that you should all score high on that one. Number seven is resilience and courage. Composure under pressure falls under that one. Risk taking, making bold decisions when needed with calculated judgment. And persistence, showing determination to overcome obstacles and setbacks. And number eight, the last one, collaboration and inclusiveness. And I'm not talking DEI inclusiveness here. I'm talking about bringing people in as part of the team and part of your vision. What's your team orientation like? Are you fostering cooperation? Conflict resolution. How do you address those disagreements? Are you constructive and diplomatic? And cultural sensitivity. Again, this is meeting people where they are. And again, that when I talk about diversity, I'm never talking about, I hate to say, men and women. We talked about this with basketball. Yes, there are differences. There's difference between black and white and brown and yellow and red and whatever, but it shouldn't matter. We should know that that's going to mean those people, any of those people, including myself, have a different background and a different perception. We come with our own baggage, no matter where we come from. And recognizing that in every person matters. That's cultural sensitivity to me. That's just treating people like they're valued. Excuse me. So those are the top 8. And I'll have this on the back end, but really take a look at that and score yourself. And maybe I should turn that into a parenting sheet too, right? How do we score as parents? How do we score as siblings? How do we score as spouses and partners? If we were to look at that, are we earning respect from the people who matter most in our lives also? So that is the earning respect versus demanding respect. And as we go into the next year, I want every one of us to be more mindful of how we can up our game. How can we get better? And if you want to move the dial on your business, move your dial on these 8 components. They will make that difference. They will up your game. They will up your bottom line. They will up your esteem with the people you work with, your suppliers, the people you're looking to partner with. These things will make a difference. So that's it. This will be my last one for the year. And I think up next is going to be Jim and Rachel are going to be finishing out the year. So I have to say I have enjoyed bringing you a lesson on my terms this whole time. It's been, gosh, for almost 3 years now. Enjoyable. It's pushed me. I don't just throw stuff together and come at you. I give this a lot of thought. And so I hope it's bringing you as much value as it has brought me. And I look forward to next year. I'm excited about it. So I would like to hear highlights. The best thing that's happened to you guys in the last week or two. Heidi, you've been on a whirlwind, it looks like, again. I know Riley's had some great successes with her business. Alex, I saw some posts. It might have been older posts that popped up, but I want to know what's going on in your world as well. And because you're up on my screen first, Alex, I'm gonna have you chime in. What's some good stuff going on? If you got negative stuff, I'll take it too, right? Because it's cheaper than therapy. That's where we started. It's cheaper than therapy.
I would say it's cheaper than tequila, but then Jim would probably been on my case for that one. The good stuff was at the PRI Performance Racing Industry Show in Indianapolis last week. Met a bunch of people, have some new reseller agreements put in place. Had a great meeting with a company owned by the person who ran the marketing and sales department for the Indy Racing League for over 25 years regarding sponsorship and promotional advertising sponsor decks, that was a big learning curve. That was one of the best things I did.
That's awesome.
Was walking down a hallway and literally almost ran over Ken Schrader, former NASCAR driver. I looked up, I was like, holy crap, it's Ken Schrader. Yeah. And I tried to sell my buddy's car to Richard Rawlings, who didn't want it. But other than that, it was a good time.
That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. You got a smile on your face. You had a smile on your face when you first jumped on tonight. It's good to see.
Yeah. I need to make more of these. It's hard at 8 o'clock at night out here in the DC world.
Yeah, I understand.
But I like it.
Well, and again, we appreciate it, and you can always jump on. I know it's not the same when it's not live, but the content is still there. So plug into the videos on the back end.
Mhm.
and dive into the content. Good to see you again, Alex. And again, the smile on your face. Things are looking good.
Hopefully.
Good. Yeah, keep on it. And if you need anything, reach out, of course.
Yeah, I will.
All right, perfect. Riley Kuntz, Ginny June, unmute. Let's see you.
Hello.
Hi there. There you are.
How's it going? I was making dinner.
That's all right.
Yeah, what the question was like, what's going on in our businesses? What's new? Wins,
Yeah.
fails, all that jazz.
Give us a good update so we can share in your success and your
Yeah.
triumph.
So let's see, wins. I launched my hat bar in September, and then since then I've done multiple pop-ups and events, and I've had some that have, as far as sales go, have not been great, and then I've had others that have been amazing, which you win some, you lose some, and it balances out. Most of the ones that like maybe I didn't have great sales, I made, I was passing out cards like crazy, and people interested in doing, private parties or wanting to do events or corporate events. So it's still successful. And then let's see, so that's going on. And then I took on new clients in my other entrepreneurial business, and with a startup company, and I'm consulting with them and contracting operational management work. And that's really cool. And it's with a really neat company. Sorry, there's construction going on in my house always. But yeah, so I'm really excited about this startup company and being able to start. I think it's gonna be really cool, and I think it's gonna open up some really cool doors. So yeah, that's what's going on.
Awesome. Well, first, I want to say what I just talked about was how you're ending a year is how you're going to begin the new year. You're going to be busy.
I hope so. Yeah. I already have some. I actually have a meeting on Thursday for consultation with the bride. I've got some weddings potentially looking to book me and stuff. So yeah, that's the hope.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to give you a shout out too. One of the other things you were marketing for Copper Kitchen.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
we went to one of the last event. You weren't there, but
Yes.
I was there, and Taylor from Church and State
Yep.
Designs was there. And Taylor ended up with some business, and my wife got a new client from from that dinner. So
Your wife doesn't need any new clients.
she doesn't. We're booked through August, so we're kind of done there. But again, and what reminded me of that was when you said some of the events you didn't have a lot of sales, but you don't know the impact you're making. It's what happens after those events that matters. So you put on your smiling face, and it's going to come back at you. So I'm excited for you, Riley. Great job. Proud of you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You bet. All right, Heidi, I'd like to hear from you. Bring us an update.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fierce
Okay,
Grace.
wait. Yes. Alex, did you say you're in DC? Yeah. Okay. I just got back from there. I flew in last night, got in at midnight. So I got to go see all of the, yesterday walked around and saw all of the historical areas there. So yeah, pretty sure when we were staying at the Hotel Washington, next to us was the Willard Hotel. I'm pretty sure that's where Trump was staying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And you did it right. You came in and got out.
Yeah, we did. We came in and got out, but it was good. It was really good. Went to Hamilton restaurant a couple there. Have you been to the Hamilton?
I haven't been, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. So way to go, Riley. Way to go, Alex. Let's see. And thank you so much, Rod. Fantastic. Absolutely love it. I feel like I'm hitting a lot of the aspects that you just spoke about this evening, Rod. I'm grateful to hear them all. And then I'll go back and listen over this again. Let's see. And hitting the ground running right now, hardcore, with dialing in a few things you talked about. If I don't have the skill sets, I'm really faithfully incorporating the people that do have those skills. So it's a lot of dollar bills being out there, but I have faith because the people have faith in me and we're just going to keep at it. And it's, we're going to just keep moving forward. So I've got a lot of irons in the fire. I've got a lot of fish and lines out there, and I've got clients that I'm loving on and nurturing, and I'm just looking for, a big, massive pull to put in and bring things in. So it's going really well.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Excited for you too. And then you're going to have that problem of how are you going to balance all this, right?
Well, I mean, yes, but I think that my vision, is that this company can be a big company. Like if it needs to get to the infrastructure where there's, employees and things like that, we'll go there. And I know between you and Jim and Rachel that I'll be able to be supported in navigating that and getting that there. So, I mean, eventually I have a vision that I'll have a portal that I could, market to companies where they can then have a portal on their company to link in to health and wellness. Because, what company wouldn't want to have that as a tool for their company? And
Absolutely.
I'm gonna provide that for them along the other things that I do. So I'm working on that as well. And I put a lot of gas on the pedal with newsletters and sales and blogs and just bursts of information to nurture people right now at this time of the season. And then I've got a nutrition program that I'm putting together, like a reset program that I'll put out for a 6-week program to help people, understand what they need to do to get themselves back on track. And so I'll get that all launched out within about probably the 2nd or 3rd week of January.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And coming at a time when the whole country
Yeah.
is really refocusing on the nutrition aspect and
Yeah. And
eating differently.
and we'll do it like at that 4th grade level,
Right.
4th grade level. And then I can, on the back end, what I can do is repurpose this constantly, on how to get back on track after vacation, after the holidays, or get on track for the wedding or the beach. There's a lot of ways I can shift this, what I'm putting together. And it's from the ground up that I've had to create this. So it's really time intensive and it's very hard because it's a lot of technology and you have to just really like give birth to this. Oh,
Yes. I understand.
So now this health and wellness coach sits here eating candy cane.
Go do some burpees when you're done. It'll be fine. I'm not a dentist. I don't care. Right?
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Believe me. I have no problem with it because I know what I can do. Anyways, that's my story.
Well, that's awesome. It warms my heart to see everybody busy and excited right now. And I will tell you, Jim and I discussed this last week. Every time we get together, we're feeling it. We're feeling an energy in the whole culture. It's in the air.
Yeah.
Things are going to happen, and it's like that big swell out in the ocean. For the surfers, there's a big swell building, and we're seeing the sets of waves, going out and coming in, and there's a big one building, and we're all set. The boards are waxed. We're set. We're going to be able to ride this next one in. And I think 2025 is going to be phenomenal for all of us. Things are going to start breaking. And when they do, we're going to be ready.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's nice to see when we know everywhere where we've started, and then we can share in that success. Your success means nothing if we haven't seen the struggles.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I got to go to the Army Navy game there, and Trump and Elon Musk and Vice President, elect was there, and they would show the camera on them and stuff like that. And the entire stadium went wild.
Every time they showed them?
It was so crazy wild, like wilder than they did just for the game. And there was not one boo. Like there, you'd think there'd probably be a little bit of nothing. It was just this the intensity of it was incredible. I don't know. Just I wanted to share like the energy of it all. Like the energy I felt there was incredible. Yeah.
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 We're feeling it even out here.
Yeah.
So if you were feeling that in DC, that's pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Alex will tell you he's been in the heart of that beast for a long time.
My whole entire life.
Ugh.
Yeah. The corporate end of it.
Yeah. No. I don't necessarily like DC that much. I got out of there when I was 21, but then I came back when my youngest son was 21. It's kind of interesting. but now I'm back here.
Where did you live before ID when you were in DC?
I lived always in the Flathead Valley. I was born and raised in Lakeside. We had like 11 acres there, but I was like young and I wanted to try and get out in the world. I just couldn't stay focused. I did like FECC and University of Montana. Then I did Seattle. Then I just like went across basically a lot of the US doing what I was doing. I was doing sales for like water filtration, and it was just going bananas, being young and you know, trying to not necessarily do it right, but trying to do it, but that's okay. And I had my youngest son, or excuse me, I had my oldest son who's 28 now. I had him out there in Washington, D.C. when I was 21, and I realized this was no place for me to be able to raise a child. It was awful.
Mhm.
So I think he was around 4 months old. I got him and headed back to Montana. So it was kind of epic for me. I'd left there when I was 21 with a baby in my hands. And then I come back there 21 years later to see my youngest son at 21, you know, playing football. It was crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you actually live in DC or were you
Fairfax, Virginia, mostly area. And I would commute all the time back and forth.
that's where I grew up in Fairfax.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's, yeah. Big, so many people. So many people.
Too many people.
Too many.
Well,
Thank
we
you.
look forward. I keep thinking we're gonna end up with some sort of an event out here in Montana, and we're gonna get some of those city folk back here, show them a good time.
Yeah.
So, Alex,
Yeah.
we look forward to that.
Well, I did grow up on a farm not too far away from here in the mountains. So and that was the only, when I had to buy a house, it was where can I find something with, you know, about an acre of land, detached garage, blah, blah, blah. And I wound up down near Quantico Marine Base on the southern side of Manassas, which Heidi probably remembers down in all the Civil War battlefields. So, I mean, I'm out here and it's in the country and it's great, but, you know, I got a 10-minute drive to a good grocery store with nice beer. So, you know, it works out.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Well, all right, everybody. We're going to cut this 5 minutes short unless anyone have anything else. Otherwise, we're going to let you get back to your evening.
Nope.
Perfect. It was great to see you all. Take some notes. I'll get this check sheet off to Rachel, and we'll have it on the back end in the next week or so.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.